Good evening, Saints. It's me again, walking outside in the evening. It's dry now. It rained throughout the day. The clouds are still grayish, but it has cleared up, so I can afford this walk outside. Listen, there is one piece of knowledge that some of you already have because your parents taught you it. Okay, so if your parents told you this, or your family rose up with this knowledge, you're very blessed. But many don't have this piece of knowledge. So I'm going to give it to you for free now. Anytime the public feels humiliated, bad stuff will happen. Yep, that's a piece of knowledge. Anytime the public feels humiliated, bad stuff will happen. So some of your parents told you to never give your opinion unless people ask for it. Now, there are people with military mindsets who just want to control how you think, how you feel, and just want narcissistic life by controlling you. So you only know how to speak when they ask you to speak, and when you speak, you have to say whatever they want. Now, if that's what was the motive of your parents, then that was a bad motivation on their part, and Christ will deal with them. However, that prohibition to never give your opinion unless you're asked to do so, there is a practical benefit to it. Let me give an example. Let's say there is this man who is going to trial for rape, but the man claims to be innocent, but most of the public is convinced he's guilty. Now, whether the public is correct or not does not matter. They already decided this man is guilty. And let's say you give your opinion on the case and you base your opinion on evidence. You don't just give your opinion based on how you feel. You give your opinion based on evidence that the whole court case doesn't add up. And people have to admit you're right. But that's not what people want to hear. They want to hear that man is guilty. Okay? So, when the guilty verdict comes, everyone looks at you and says, you see, you were wrong, he's guilty after all. What if 5 years later, the conviction is overturned? Now, all the other people were so convinced that the man was guilty, they all spoke bad about him to their friends and relatives, they all got a good feeling, they were good people at his expense. All their self-worth is now broken because they insisted on having an innocent man convicted for a crime he did not commit. Now this is going to have bad consequences because now those people that insisted on a guilty verdict, they were not the judge nor the jury that gave the full guilty verdict, but they were putting pressure on the courthouses to give a guilty verdict. Now, those people, they have friends, they have family, they have wives, husbands, children, family-in-law. So all their social relations are going to figure out that they insisted on having an innocent man convicted. Why? Because they felt like it. That's not going to be a very good thing, because your family-in-law may decide, you know what, we don't trust you anymore, and your marriage may suffer because of it. Or if you have children, the children may not trust you anymore, and that will lead to issues between you and your children. May lead to domestic violence in some cases. Or if you representing a company, and later this comes out about you, that you used to belong to the crowd that cheered on the conviction of a man whose court case didn't add up, that company may fire you because you bring a bad reputation to the company. And when that happens, and you can't feed your family, there may be a divorce or whatever. So, when the truth comes out, the public who was wrong will feel humiliated, and they are humiliated. They are humiliated, and they will feel humiliated. Now, when this happens, they need to admit we were wrong and deal with the consequences that come. No matter how painful the consequences are, because there's nothing else constructive they can do. But often people don't want to face the consequences of them being wrong as a group. So what do? They will look for someone to violate. They will look for someone to blame and someone to attack. And then they will remember, you remember that Joey 5 years ago? He was so annoying, man. He was always giving his opinion about the case, saying that it doesn't add up, this and this. And then they're going to come murmur and complain about you, always giving your opinion without people asking for it. And then Then you are under psychic attack. Then you have negative tension growing against you, and then bad stuff are likely to happen to you. It may sound very weird. It may sound very outlandish and very ridiculous, but that's how fallen mankind operates. When they just want to be left alone, they make up their minds about something, and they don't want to hear anything else. Okay? That's how they are. And if you have an evidence-based opinion, they will remember your evidence-based opinion, and they will use it later to turn on you. If you have an emotional-based opinion that validated their anger, they would welcome it. But if you have an evidence-based opinion, they'll turn on you. There are people out there who became the target of psychic violence years after they expressed their honest, evidence-based opinions. An opinion is a judgment based on your own experiences and the information available to you. So if you have an evidence-based opinion that can be fact-checked, why should anyone be upset with you? That's because they're not interested in facts. They're not interested in reality. They're not interested in the truth. The only thing they want is to be validated. They want to get a pat on the back saying you're a good boy, you're a good girl. They want to hear that they're good people. They want to hear that they have the reasons for being racist. They have the reasons for being violent. They have the reasons for being sexist. They want to hear justification on their part. They don't want to face nor deal with any challenge in life. So when a challenge happens, they want it to be over with as soon as possible. But when it's a challenge that involves the whole community, you can't just say, let it get over as soon as possible, because something that affects the whole community. Let's say there was a natural disaster. Let's say there's an economic crisis. Let's say there's a famine. It's something that involves the whole community. In that case, they look for someone or a group of people to be angry with, and it's all the fault of that group of people. And as long as everyone agrees with them that the scapegoats are to blame, your opinion is welcome. They will like to hear you. So, it can be that you have valuable information to offer in a situation. That can be true. And it can be that people need your valuable information because your valuable information may save lives. But look at this. If the people are determined to shed blood, then life-saving information will not benefit. You know why? You have life-saving information, that's good. But they are determined to shed blood. They're determined to sacrifice someone to be at ease. So they will not value your life-saving knowledge. It's like casting pearls before swine. Look, I don't agree with the attitude that others have a right to control you. When you talk, how you talk, what you say, and then they are entitled to attack you just because you don't validate what they want. I don't agree with that at all. But what I am saying is that before you open your mouth and exercise judgment in a situation, make sure that those around there are able and willing to bear with the judgment. Let's say now that there is this woman who went missing, okay? The husband filed a missing persons report. And then he even hired a private detective to do research for him, because the police wasn't making much effort in the case. Now that's a red flag. Why would the police not make effort in the case? It's a missing persons report. But okay. Now, the private detective goes through the phone records, talks to some relatives of the wife, so the in-laws, and the private detective figured out very quickly that this woman intended to divorce this man a long time ago. He even found out that she was already having a sexual relationship with another man, and that she even planned to board an airplane to leave the country with that man. And this was known for weeks. However, she always pretended as if she wanted to work on her marriage, just to save face. So the husband believed this, even though everyone around the husband knew this woman's about to leave you. Now, the private detective eventually dropped the case, saying, I can't investigate this further. He came with the excuse, which was not true. He said something like, my license was withdrawn. So the husband said, okay, you did what you could. The private detective's license was not withdrawn. He made it up. He just excused himself from the situation. You know why? Because this private detective realized this man doesn't want to face the reality that his wife was exploiting him all along. He doesn't want to face that his whole marriage was based on the woman exploiting him. And now the woman was fed up with her own scam, and now she wanted a way out. So the private detective realized, okay, if I tell this man the truth with facts, he will not process it well, and he will turn on me. And because he has some money, I may become a target. So you know why? I'm going to excuse myself in this situation. Even though I'm the private detective and my judgment is valid, I'm still not going to give my valid judgment based on evidence, because this man does not want to deal with reality. Now, just like a private detective, this is how you need to be in daily life. This is how you need to be also. Examine whether people around you are willing and capable to bear your judgment. I'm not talking about when you feel a certain way and you just open your mouth without any regard for how you affect other people's feelings. I'm not talking about that, because that's narcissism. I'm not talking about you just want to dump whatever you think and feel with no regard for other people. I'm not talking about that, because then people are justified to being upset with you. I'm talking about when you have an evidence-based judgment that's constructive, that's beneficial. If you have an evidence-based judgment, a righteous judgment, always examine whether the environment is worthy of that judgment. If they're not worthy of it, keep your mouth shut, because you will only putting yourself at risk and those around you, because if they can't find you, they will look for your relatives or people close to you. So learn to keep your mouth shut until it's proven that the environment is worthy of your judgment. If they're not worthy of your judgment, don't waste any efforts on them. Don't cause your person for swine. Keep your mouth shut till it's proven that the people around you are not swine. Well, that's it for now. Keep on agreeing with Christ and be at peace.